All right, welcome to the second review of the evening. Up this time is The Immortal. The labyrinth holds mysteries, unfit for mortal eyes, mysteries of eternal life, of sudden death, of sorcery and betrayal. Its shadows hide deadly traps, its puzzles tantalize, and from the caverns far below, your lost master, Mortimer, calls for you to save him. Um, when nightmares come to life, you'll discover you're not immortal. Um, so the Immortal is a isometric action adventure game from ye olden times. This is this is not a game. I think I played it briefly on an emulator once, like, and did a bit of playing of the game this week, and we'll get into that because I suppose we shall preface not just this review, but the next one, like the classic reviews that Petty and Galax are handling. By our reviews are not just about the game itself; it can often be about the version we get or provided or I pick. Like because I gotta admit, um, had a first with these titles. That is, Petty and Galax have requested that they do no more Pico Interactive DOSBox games. They are
they have a really basic ass DOS box that's bad about being able to configure controls and stuff. So basically, you have what the game kind of allows by default, and that's it. And also, it doesn't tell you what those are.
Yeah, and I suppose like. As far as how far that request we can be carried, I'm not sure how many other games use DOSBox. Like it's kind of a gamble when it comes to Pico Interactive, because sometimes yes they use the DOSBox, but sometimes they have this emulator. I forget what emulator they use. But like their emulators are their emulated games are a bit wonky in the sense that you don't have to dig into the options, but you can make it work with a controller just fine, and like the actual emulation works fine. We've all reviewed games from that pool, but like the DOSBox games seem to be exceptionally shit at a fundamental level. But I'll let Petty explain that in detail here.
So, yeah, I have no idea what I'm really doing.
Okay, I can say that's just the game
Yeah.
because that's why I've never been able to get into the Immortal. Like
that said, for mine, I literally looked up to see if I could find a PDF of the manual online to see if there were any hints, and that helped some, even though the only one I was able to find was for the Amiga version, not the DOS version, but it still, had some hints.
Yeah. We'll get into yours in
your
review.
I'm just saying that might have helped, but you're obviously not necessarily expected to do this. They probably should have included a PDF of the manual with the fucking game.
Yeah.
Well, I know mine on the like library thing for it in Steam. It had a link to go get the manual. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I'm highlighting here. Even between these two releases, they're different because the Immortal has controller support. Soccer Kid does not.
Odd.
Yeah.
At least that I was able to find. Like, if there's some button you have to press to enable it, I couldn't find it.
That may
I pressed all the buttons.
Yeah, that may be up to the like actual releases because Soccer Kid was released 2 years before the Immortal. So, yeah, because the Immortal is Xbox Series controller compatible. Like, how much that helps is possibly marginal.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to pull out my PlayStation or Switch controller and see if those worked as well.
Yeah, but I can say it works with the Xbox. It's also, you just got to remember that the Immortal here is a rather old game, and it's also an unconventional one. Like that was like I remember this game most from it being promoted in Nintendo Power, and it's like you're not. The selling point is you're not playing as a fighter type. You're a wizard, a really shitty wizard that doesn't have really access to the magic, and who goes around knifing goblins.
Or getting knifed, depending on how well you are at the combat.
Wizards have
Yeah,
knife. Wizards have knife proficiency.
I know, but it's like it's not what you think of when you think of wizards. Like, and yes, there is magic in the game, but the combat is stabby stab. It's still stabby stabby. Like it's kind of antithetical to why you play as a wizard class. Like, yeah, you have access to weaponry, but that's never been the point of a wizard. In fact, that's the reason why we got the squishy wizard trope in the first place. Like, anyway, so what are you doing here?
Good question. The font's really hard to read.
Yeah.
That it's for ye olde authenticity.
Yeah, but when your font is this bad, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, and yeah, obviously all the mentioning of DOSBox here. This is the IBM PC version of the game,
Yep.
and this is a bit unusual because Pico Interactive has put like multiple editions of a game in their packages before.
Yeah.
And this is a game that saw release off of a bevy of platforms.
Yeah, the manual mentioned Atari ST and Amiga.
Yep. But it was originally an Apple IIgs game.
Yep.
And there were console versions. This game was released on the NES and Sega Genesis. So they could have had a Sega Genesis version of this game running, but chose not to.
Hell, I imagine the Amiga version might be better than this.
Possibly. My point is, we know Pico has access to emulation better than this, and they chose not to do that. Yeah, I think you gotta memorize where the arrows are coming from.
Yeah, that's a pain, especially because the controls are not great because this is isometric.
Yeah, and also a game from the 80s, so it's just gonna play stiff.
Yeah, at least as far as combat goes, it's kind of weird. It's almost like it's kind of a mix of like action combat, almost turn-based. Like you can control where you swing, and you can just mash the button if you want. There is an evade button, and there's also like exhaustion meter. It looks like. And if you check the guy who's dead over here, you can actually get 3 fireballs, which can one-shot, I believe, most enemies.
Like I said, that's your quadratic wizard type. I guess it's keeping with his character class that the combat's quite shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at this.
Mm-hmm.
But once again,
If
that's
you're a
kind of
wizard, you're not supposed to get into melee without casting bull strength on yourself.
something like that.
Bull strength and something to give you extra hit points and mage armor.
Well, at least you can stun a dude and just rapidly hit the knife button.
Uh-huh.
So at least they
yeah.
have that.
Yeah, I mean, this wizard is more interested in playing Knifey Spoony.
Knifey Spoony? Do
Like,
I even want to know the reference there?
It's a Simpsons reference.
Mm.
It's
So this is what I miss Ogre. He gets those.
Mm.
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, I wasn't able to get very far because I made it past the arrow room once, and then the next room I was in, a random trap door opened with no explanation on why.
Once again, that's just old school game design.
Yeah.
Right there. Like, yeah, some of this shit is just that's how games were back in the day.
Mm.
For those who tend to over evangelize the classic way of doing things, wasn't all good.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, as far as music goes, I have no idea. It didn't work because DOSBox.
I remember the opening tune playing for me.
Mm.
But once again, this is a computer game. Like, this is the computer game version. So you weren't getting a lot of music anyway.
Yeah. Probably a lot of beeps
Which,
and boops and...
well, fuck, no. Like, fucking 80s, we're talking PC speaker.
Oh, man.
Yeah, not external speakers. The speaker that's like right next to your motherboard or whatever that beeps when there's a critical fault or when a program tells it to.
Or when
I mean,
it's working correctly.
That being said, I think this game might have had ad-lib support because the music actually sounded good and not, from the bowels of hell like a lot of PC speaker stuff sounded. Like, anyway, so in terms of pricing, the Immortal will regularly clock in at $7.99. Though it's on sale right now for $2.79 and does that regularly. Like, independent of the game version, because it is worth noting the Immortal has been re-released on consoles. It apparently got a Switch version in 2020, and much more recently, Qbyte ported the game to consoles. Sadly, I did not have access to those. So, okay, we've established that the version on Steam is kind of really broken, but could you recommend this as a game?
I don't know. Like, it seems alright. It's the problem is just the kludgy controls and old design. If that makes sense.
Like, yes. Yes, I think it does.
So yeah, I don't think I have anything else to really say about this unless you guys have any questions about like the first 30 seconds of the game.
No, I think we're good.
Yeah. Game's not good. I would not recommend.
Yeah. All right, so that'll about do it for the Immortal here. Be sure to tune in after the break as the Galax reviews Soccer Kid.